Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Agajanana Padmarkam Gajananam Aharnisham Anekadam Tam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahi. Welcome to all for this session on Ganesha Purana to chapter 52. So, in this, as in the previous chapter, Himavan is explaining the Ganesha Chathurthi Vratha to Gauri, who is now, for reasons, got separated from Shiva while she was taking refuge and with Himavat, while Shiva is busy fighting with the demon Tripura. Now Parvati wanted to get reunited with Shiva, for which Himavan, her father, recommended her to do Ganesha Vratha and explaining her about that Vratha. And then Parvati asked him whether anyone else has done it in the past. Then Himavan started telling her the story of how this Vrata in the past was explained to Skanda by Shiva himself. And while narrating that story, he told about the story of King Kardama, who has all fortunes in his present life, and then inquired with sage Brighu about what is the reason of having so much of fortune. And then Brighu started telling him how he was directed by sage Saubhari to perform the same Ganesha Chathurthi Vrata in his past life. In the past life, Kardama was a warrior, but a very weak person, was unable to take care of his family, so was abused by his wife, children, and the friends. And the same warrior went to forest and met sage Saubhari, and then Saubhari told him to perform the Ganesha Chathurthi Vrata. And then the warrior asked him, who indeed is this Ganesha? What is his nature? His appearance? How is his appearance? And what is his innate disposition? What does he do? And how did he originate? Tell me everything, O sage. The sage then replied, that one is Brahma, eternal, without impetuosity, without grief, whose form is knowledge, who is the highest truth. The good call him Ganadipa, as being without beginning, middle, or end of boundless weight. The sound Om originates from Ganadhipa, the Vedas originate from him, and the world originates from him. He pervades all this. Know him to be Gananayaka. Wishing to create the world, Brahma performed very severe austerities of 100 full years in order to gratify Gajanana. He became pleased, and Brahma then practically worshipped him with various kinds of ritual actions, celestial jewels, and fruits. He also gave him two young women named Siddhi and Buddhi, and the gratified god Gajanana, the Lord, gave him a single syllable mantra. The boon gained Brahma, then created the entire world. Previously, Vishnu had gratified him with the six syllable mantra after he had completed the vrata before an image of Ganesha as described previously. Vishnu undertook an austerity for an entire year. Once he had obtained a boon from Ganesha, Vishnu could able to protect the worlds. You must understand that Ganesha is praised on earth as the one whose form consists of everything, as being without a beginning and as being the cause of all causes. Propitiate him jealously, and you will be free of all anguish. The warrior, the previous Janma of Kardama Raja, so that warrior asked, tell me now, O excellent sage, in what month should this unsurpassed vow Vratha to be performed? And by what pressure? The sage told him, on the fourth day of the dark half of the month, that is called as Krishna Paksha, dark half of the month of Shravana, one should begin this Vratha and perform it with deep devotion until the fourth day of Bhadrapada, the following month. Perform it and you will attain all your wishes by the protector of the earth. After hearing about this vrata from him, you performed it. This is what Brighu is telling to sage Kardama, that in his past life, a weak warrior was told about the Ganesha vrata by sage Saubhari. And after hearing about this vrata from the sage Saubhari, you performed it, O strong vowed king. As soon as the Vratha was completed in Saubhari's hermitage, his house became celestial due to Ganesha's favor. It became filled with celestial men and women, male and female servants, the sound of the Vedas and the herds of the cattle. His wife, who was earlier abusing him, found herself clothed with celestial garments and adorned with many ornaments, and amazed by this, she waited expectantly with her offsprings, that's children. But wondering when will my husband return, the same lady who was earlier abusing her husband, she is now waiting for him to return. She become quite anxious. In the meantime, having bid farewell to the sage, you set out for your home. After leaving his celestial refuge, you were searching for your own home until men who had been sent by your wife brought you back to the whole house, because that warrior could not able to recognize his own house, which is now changed into a celestial house with the blessings of Gajanana. When you really understood the power of the boon giver, and you now possess this kingdom in this life because of the power of that Vratha, which is basically given by the Lord Gajanana. Shiva, who was explaining this to Skanda, continued the story. After that, they say King Kardama heard this from the Brighu's speech. The king became filled with joy and did everything Brighu had ordered, and through the power of that Vrata, the king came to possess detachment and intuitive knowledge. After he had indulged in his carnal pleasures, according to his desire, and had established his sons on his own position and appointed them as the future kings. He went to the abode of Ganeshwara, from where one does never return again. O Skanda, that woe of the woes, the greatest among all the vratas, is of the highest order, and it causes the accomplishment of every aim. No other vrata is as munificent as this particular vrata, O Skanda. So, if you want to accomplish all your aims, perform this vrata. Heavenly musicians, Danavas, gods, sages, and humans have performed it, and so too have Nala, Indumati, and King Ch- Chitrangada. They obtained all their wishes and went to Ganeshwara's heaven. I think the king's name was Chandrangada. The mountain, the Himavat, was telling this to Parvati. Everything about this great Vrata, including a traditional tale, has been narrated to you. Perform this Vrata after you have meditated in your mind on the boon giving Gananayaka. Then that illustrious lady Parvati, you will get Shiva, your husband. I have narrated this to you out of my affection towards you, but do not reveal the details of this Vratha to anybody. Thus ends the 52nd chapter of Upasana Khanda of the glorious Ganesha Purana, in which we have seen who exactly performed this in the past. Ganesha Vrata in the past was performed by King Kardama's previous birth, a warrior. He was a warrior and he was in a very dilapidated state in his life, abused by his own family. But then the after the recommendation by sage Saubhari, he performed the Ganesha Chathurthi Vratha in the hermitage of sage Saubhari himself, and because of that he got all the celestial wealth not only in that birth but also in the following birth. He became King Kardama and got all the fortune of the life. Namaste Sharada Devi Kashmira Puramasini Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam Vidya Danancha Dehime. Goodbye.